What if I told you that Bitcoin has already died more than 470 times? At least that's what newspapers, TV channels, economists, and global headlines claim for more than a decade. Bitcoin is finished. The bubble has burst. This time, it won't recover. Every crash was supposed to be its funeral. Every bear market was treated as a final obituary. Every government ban was announced as the last nail in its digital coffin. And yet, despite all predictions, Bitcoin is still here, still running, still mining, still trusted, and still worth more than the national currencies of entire countries. The question is, why? Why has this borderless, leaderless, invisible currency survived every attack, every collapse, every scandal, and every ban, when thousands of other cryptocurrencies vanish forever? Why do millions keep buying it even after losing billions during crashes? What makes Bitcoin unkillable? Today, we dive deep into the crashes that should have destroyed it, the scandals that almost ended the experiment, the governments that tried to ban it, and the reason why, after 15 years, Bitcoin might be stronger today than ever before. Welcome to the Financial Historian, where money, power, and history collide. The story begins in 2011, when Bitcoin was misunderstood, obscure, and almost worthless. Then suddenly, its price exploded from a few cents to $31. Forums panicked, early adopters felt like geniuses, and headlines described Bitcoin as the future of money. But just as quickly, everything collapsed. A major exchange was hacked, sending Bitcoin crashing from $31 to just $2, a 94% collapse. Reddit users declared Bitcoin dead. Developers were terrified. Critics laughed. A crash this deep should have killed it economically and psychologically. But something strange happened. Even at $2, people kept buying not for profit, but for belief. They believed in money that no bank could freeze, a network no government could shut down, a system with rules that applied equally to everyone. This was the first sign that Bitcoin wasn't just software. It was a movement with people willing to hold through hell. By 2013, Bitcoin was no longer a toy. It was a threat. The price crossed $1,000, governments took notice, and panic began. China banned banks from using it. India declared it illegal overnight. US politicians called it dangerous. As expected, the price collapsed 85%. Economists celebrated its death. Paul Krugman said it had no economic value. But instead of disappearing, Bitcoin quietly matured. Developers improved the code. Wallets became safer. Exchanges professionalized. Institutional curiosity began. The world learned its first big lesson. Bitcoin becomes harder to kill the more you try to kill it. Then came 2014 DMT Gox disaster, the closest Bitcoin ever came to truly dying. Mt. Gox handled more than 70% of all Bitcoin transactions and suddenly collapsed, revealing that 850,000 Bitcoin had gone missing. People lost life savings. Trust evaporated. The largest scandal in crypto history should have destroyed the entire ecosystem. But Mt. Gox didn't kill Bitcoin for one simple reason. Mt. Gox controlled a company, not the network. The blockchain kept running. Blocks kept being mined. Transactions kept being processed. Bitcoin proved that it had no CEO, no headquarters, no single point of failure, a currency that simply could not be shut off. Mt. Gox died. Bitcoin lived. And that changed everything. 2017 brought a new kind of chaos, mania. Everyone was buying Bitcoin, students, parents, celebrities, neighbors. The price soared to $20,000 and then collapsed 84% again. The media celebrated another final crash. But something was different this time. Millions of people refused to sell. They held. They learned. They built. Bitcoin was no longer a tech experiment. It had become a global asset class. Exchanges received licenses. Governments created regulations. Hedge funds started watching. Bitcoin didn't just survive, it graduated into legitimacy. Then came March 2020. The pandemic crashed the perfect financial storm. Global markets collapsed, and Bitcoin fell 50% in a single day. Fear spread like wildfire. This should have been the end, but instead, something unexpected happened. Wall Street entered the chat. Billionaires, hedge funds, tech companies, and even public corporations began buying Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, a type of digital gold that no government could print. The narrative changed forever. From $3,800, Bitcoin climbed to $69,000 not because of hype, but because the world began trusting it more than their own central banks. And then came 2022, the bloodiest year in crypto history. Terra collapsed. Celsius froze withdrawals. Three Arrows Capital imploded. Billions disappeared. FTX committed one of the biggest frauds in financial history. Everything connected to crypto collapsed, everything except Bitcoin. Because the world finally understood, none of these failures were Bitcoin. They were companies built around Bitcoin. Bitcoin's network kept running flawlessly. Blocks were mined. Transactions were verified. No bailouts, no freezing, no corruption, no emergency meetings, just pure neutral code doing exactly what it was designed to do. When everything else collapsed, Bitcoin stood as the only thing that wasn't broken. So why has Bitcoin survived every crash? Why has this digital organism, born anonymously on an online forum, outlived scandals, bans, hacks, collapses, frauds, recessions, pandemics, bubbles, and the loudest critics in modern financial history? The answer lies in four forces no asset in history has ever combined in a single system. These forces don't just explain survival, they explain inevitability. The first force is decentralization, the kind that exists nowhere else in finance. Bitcoin has no founder to arrest, no CEO to bribe, no board to corrupt, no headquarters to raid, and no server to unplug. Satoshi Nakamoto disappeared, leaving behind a network that belongs to everyone and no one at the same time. Governments can ban exchanges, but they can't ban math. Regulators can clamp down on companies, but they can't shut down thousands of independent nodes humming quietly across 190 countries. Every attack, every attempt to control it only reveals a deeper truth. Bitcoin can't be killed because there is no off switch, no person in charge, no single failure point to collapse. It is a system designed like the internet itself, distributed, resilient, and always relocating itself to wherever it's allowed to exist. The second force is absolute scarcity, something no modern currency, not even gold, can claim with certainty. Gold supply expands every year as mining technology improves. Government currencies can be printed with the push of a button, but Bitcoin? It has a hard cap of 21 million coins, enforced by code, verified by millions, and changeable by none. Politicians can't vote to increase it. Central banks can't inflate it. Billionaires can't manipulate it. No amount of lobbying, pressure, or corruption can rewrite the mathematics behind its supply. In a world drowning in debt, money printing, and inflation, Bitcoin's fixed supply acts like a lighthouse of calm, unmovable reference point in a sea of constantly shifting fiat economics. It is the first monetary asset with perfect, unbreakable scarcity. The third force is its incentive-driven architecture, a global economic machine that rewards people for keeping it alive. Miners earn Bitcoin for securing the network. Investors gain value from holding it. Developers push innovation for the ecosystem, and users transact to escape broken local currencies. Everyone who touches Bitcoin has a reason to protect it. That's why millions of people have become guardians of the network without ever meeting each other, speaking the same language, or living in the same political system. It has created a worldwide coalition of participants whose interests align around a single mission: keep Bitcoin running. This invisible alignment is what makes it unstoppable. It's not just technology, it's economic Darwinism. The fourth force is Bitcoin's uncanny ability to reinvent itself after every crisis. In 2011, it was a toy and experiment for programmers. In 2013, it evolved into digital currency and alternative payment system. In 2017, it transformed again, becoming a global investment class. In 2020, during a pandemic, it matured into an inflation hedge, a digital equivalent of gold trusted by corporations and hedge funds. And in 2024, it reached its final evolution so far, a form of institutional digital gold supported by ETF, integrated into financial markets, and recognized by governments that once tried to kill it. Every crash didn't weaken Bitcoin, it evolved it. Each cycle acted like a biological mutation, making the network smarter, stronger, and more decentralized. Most assets die from volatility. Bitcoin grew because of it. Most currencies collapse when trust disappears. Bitcoin thrives because it hides nothing. Every transaction is transparent. Every rule is public. Every change must be agreed upon by a global majority. There are no backroom deals, no secret inflation, no midnight policy shifts. Bitcoin is the first monetary system in history where the rules apply equally to presidents, billionaires, students, and farmers. It is money without privilege. Most systems require leaders. Bitcoin requires none. It doesn't need a central bank, a rescue plan, or government guarantees. It doesn't need advertisers, influencers, or institutions to validate it. Bitcoin survives because its survival is built into the incentives of the people who use it. A currency that continues to exist not because someone is in charge, but because no one is. That is why Bitcoin is still here, not because it avoided crashes, but because it was engineered to survive them. Every failure around it only proved how different it was. Every collapse highlighted its independence. Every attack strengthened its resilience. Bitcoin didn't survive because it's perfect. It survived because it is antifragile, something that becomes stronger when tested, more trusted when doubted, and more valuable when suppressed. It survived because it is unkillable, ungoverned, and unstoppable. A monetary revolution disguised as lines of code. A network held together not by force, but by belief. A system that belongs to everyone and no one, everywhere and nowhere, at the same time. If this gave you a new perspective on money, power, and history, make sure you subscribe our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. See you in next video.